Hi everybody, what's going on? It is your boy C4 here, and it is an exciting time around Beast Mode TV. Draft day, combine, it's all upon us. The second half, well, pretty much the new half of the NFL season. After many of you whose teams have been eliminated in the playoffs, basically the combine and the draft are pretty much the next big pick-me-up until training camp. So, what I'm going to do on Beast Mode TV is I'm going to break down the top 5 players for each individual position, much like I did for my actual Ultimate Team stuff. But to give you guys more of a better comparison, I'll give each of my prospects a pro comparison. You guys can kind of think about, give an actual good visual in case you haven't actually got to see them play in college to help you guys out. Now, my background is I watch a lot of college football. Any night, any game is fucking on, and I'm not doing anything. I'll be watching that game. So I would say that I have... Obviously, there's people on there are people whose actual job it is to scout and do scouting reports on the internet have more than I do, but I have a lot more than the standard fan, probably more than any commentator on YouTube, I'd like to think. So I'll be breaking down each one of these guys using my own notes and notes that I've seen from other people that I've kind of justified. I'll be giving you each player's pro comparison. So now that that's out of the way, well, I'm going to be throwing you a sleeper into this year's call. Well, first we're going to do quarterbacks. So my first sleeper will be Jimmy Garoppolo, a guy from basically a school no one's ever heard of in Eastern Michigan. I think that he's going to be by far the biggest sleeper, and if he has a good combine, he could even step up. He's from Eastern Illinois, so it's not a standard NCAA school. It is a Division II, but he threw for 5,000 yards, had 53 touchdown passes, and 9 interceptions. In any game, when you can do that, that is very impressive. He has drawn a lot of comparisons to Alex Smith in terms of just his general skill set. He may not be as athletic. Alex Smith proved this year with the Kansas City Chiefs that he's quite athletic. But I'm going to compare him to actually Tony Romo. The way that he plays, he has some decent mobility, but just the way he stands in the pocket just reminds me a lot of Tony Romo, which is a pretty bad comparison considering they both went to the same school, but they look like almost the same type of guy. But, we all know Tony Romo took a couple years before he refined his game and was able to get the starting job with Dallas. So I think the same will be said for Garoppolo, but if all said and done, you can get a guy that might go in the 3rd or 4th, 5th round that ends up being a Tony Romo type player. That's a steal in my books every day. Number 5, Tajh Boyd, the quarterback from Clemson. This year he had a very, very nice season. Had almost 4,000 passing yards with 34 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He also had 650 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns on the ground. Now, I'm going to compare Tajh Boyd to a less refined Donovan McNabb. For you Philadelphia Eagles fans, we all know that Donovan McNabb, even though he could not win in the big game, for the longest time, he's a very, very solid quarterback, consistent Pro Bowler. I think Tajh Boyd has the same skill set as Donovan McNabb, but his decision-making is horrendous. I think that if he had much, much better decision-making, he could be a first-round quarterback. Throw his name to be one of the first quarterbacks taken off the board. But for how weak his decision-making is, it really fucks up his intangibles, which is why he will slip in this draft. But I think that any team that can get him, he probably will walk on and be a backup, a high-end backup quarterback for most teams. But I think he can develop into a great starter someday. But yes, a less refined Donovan McNabb for Tajh Boyd. Number 4 is Derrick Carr, quarterback from Fresno State. Derrick Carr went right the fuck off this season. He had 5,000 passing yards, 50 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. I'm going to compare Derrick Carr to Matt Stafford, the quarterback of the Detroit Lions. I think that they both have the similar type of builds. They're both one of the taller, 6'3", 6'4" range. I think Matt Stafford, they both show a lot of durability. Matt Stafford he got hit a lot at Georgia and did not get injured. Same with Derrick Carr, obviously playing for Fresno State. But I think that's just pretty much the way they have the same throwing motion, it looks like. And I think aside from Derrick Carr kind of running more of like an air raid offense at Fresno State, I think both these guys, they're both one of those kind of type of quarterback that when you put in the pocket, if everything breaks down, they can always kind of scramble for 5 yards. They're not going to be the guy that kind of like a Nick Foles, unfortunately, that will get a lot of intentional grounding penalties because they have slow decision making. They have really, really quick decision making, good release. I think that I think that his field vision is also well. He's a good arm. But him coming from Fresno State, it's a smaller school, which may affect. People be like, oh man, he didn't really face the high level competition. So I think Derrick Carr will have a right to, maybe improve his draft stock a little bit with the combine. But he reminds me of Matt Stafford a whole bunch. Number 3, here's where it gets interesting, where I have a really going against the status norm here for quarterback rankings. I'm going with Teddy Bridgewater at number 3, and I have him. A lot of people have him compared to like Andrew Luck and shit. No fucking way. Teddy Bridgewater looks like a slightly more refined Geno Smith. Teddy Bridgewater's good at a bunch of things, but not great at any. He's not an elite athlete like Cam Newton. He's not an elite passer like Andrew Luck. So he has to go somewhere in the middle, and that's where I have him compared with a slightly better. He has a little bit better pocket passer than Geno Smith. This year, Teddy Bridgewater had about 4,000 passing yards, 31 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, but I kind of credit that to a weak schedule. Louisville did not play a lot of tough teams. Obviously, at the back end of their schedule, it was a little bit more tough. But I see Teddy Bridgewater being a bit of a bust, and can't compare him to any more than a slightly more refined Geno Smith. Yeah. Number 2 will be UCF's quarterback Blake Bortles, who had an excellent game in the Fiesta Bowl against Baylor. He finished the year with 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. I compare Blake Bortles to Ben Roethlisberger. They're both very, very big quarterbacks who stand in the pocket and somehow just find ways not to get sacked. Blake Bortles has pretty good decision making. He has like I just said, he has the athletic ability to not get sacked, and he can also scramble for yards. Has a really, really good strong arm on him, but obviously he needs to work on, I'd say his footwork's not that good. He needs to probably get more NFL caliber footwork. But a lot of mocks now are having him going as the first round pick, having him bump Teddy Bridgewater. I think that's maybe a little too generous, but I think Blake Bortles will be an excellent quarterback for years to come. But I do think that it may be, why I have him at 2 and not 1, is that he may be kind of like a Mark Sanchez, Christian Ponder type, where it might not be best to start him starting quarterback right out of the gate. Obviously, if he proves himself in training camp, he deserves the job, but don't start him in that first string right away. He needs time to develop and prove that he can start this level. Which means to bring to number 1, QB number 1, and that is Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football from Texas A&M. I think that he will be for sure the best quarterback in this draft. He just does things that normal quarterbacks can't do. This season he had 4,000 passing yards with 37 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. He also ran for almost 1,000 yards with 9 touchdowns. I believe he was a runner-up in the Heisman. Basically, the pro comparison for Johnny Manziel is a more mobile Brett Favre. He makes plays and throws that most 95% of quarterbacks won't throw, and he'll complete them. But on the downside of things, he probably will have a lot of turnovers. But, though turnovers plague Brett Favre's career, he still goes down as probably a top 5, top 10 quarterback of all time. Super exciting, super effective, won a whole bunch of games, and that's what I see in Johnny Manziel's future. One thing to add is that Johnny Manziel needs a tall receiver to really help his game. At Texas A&M, he had Mike Evans there, because when you're being compared to Brett Favre, you can almost assume that in that hand you get a quarterback that has errant throws that aren't necessarily always accurate because he's making the play at the line of scrimmage. And he had Mike Evans at Texas A&M, 6'5" dude with great hands to be able to go make that play. He's gonna need that in the pro game. And if he goes to Cleveland, like a lot of mock drafts having, him and Josh Gordon, if they can get a good rapport going, they're gonna be terrifying for years to come. But Johnny Manziel is my number 1 ranked quarterback, and I compare him to Brett Favre. But there you have it, guys. A little bit longer than I want to, but I don't know how much short I could have made that. As always, leave a comment in the comment section below with who you think will be the best quarterback out of this year's college draft. Smash the like button, and make sure you subscribe to Beast Mode TV for more NFL Draft Pro comparisons. Till next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out.